Jason here again. I'm working on my 1999 Suzuki Grand Vitara again. It's been about a couple years since I put out the first video on it, replacing the radiator. So, I mean, it's been 2 years and never had any problems with it. And then the alternator belt breaks. So, I had to replace that. And what I've gotten done so far is this. This is the new belt for it. And as you can see, get it turned right here. You'll be able to see the numbers on the belt. That way you know what belt you need for the alternator to replace that. But first, what you need to do is take off the Serpentine belt, take it loose, take it off, and then you can get the alternator belt back on. So what I've had to do is I've had to take off the top hose to the radiator to get that out of the way. And it usually just has these kind of clip-on type, or the press. You just take a pair of pliers, press them together, and it releases it. And to me, it's easier than using the old-fashioned hose clamps. But if those fail, if these break or fail, then you can always just use the regular hose clamps. Then the next thing is, you've got two 12mm bolts right here, right down here, right where I'm pointing this wrench at. One there and one there. So they're like side by side. You got to get those loose. You don't want to take them out unless you plan on replacing the pulley itself, but I think my pulley's fine. But so you just loosen those bolts, and it takes a 12mm socket, and then you got to get a I think it's a, get that back out here. Get that out of there. Then you need a hex head socket, which is a 10mm socket. As you can probably see right there, hopefully. My phone camera's good enough. And what I've been using my, I've got a tool here, Serpentine belt tool kit. Which I got right here is the whole kit right there. And this is the main bar I use. But naturally it doesn't come with the hex head sockets. You have to buy them separate. But this cost me about 30 bucks from AutoZone. And I bought that about 2 years ago. And the problem is the weld broke on the spoke here. So I had a friend of mine at work weld it back for me. Shout out to Carrie Turner for doing that for me. Saved me 30 more bucks to go buy a new one. So then once you get those two bolts loose, you can put this. There is a hex head hole in the middle of that. Like I said, it takes a 10mm hex head socket to get in there. And you don't have a lot of room to work, so between the fan and the fan shroud. So just a matter of getting that sucker down in there. Get it back in there. It's hard to do with one hand. Come on. Get in there. Okay, there it goes, I think. Then you see, if you push to the left, you're just tightening it. But if you push to the right, you loosen it, which I need to come over this way a little more. Now I had to do a little finagling stuff. Had to take that thing back out of there to this out. Hold on. Okay. So I had to get the get this camera in here. Okay. Where's the belt at? Okay. Okay, so I finally got the Serpentine belt off. And once you get that loose, you have to pretty much take it out from underneath. That was the best way to get a hold of it, because I couldn't get a hold of it from up top here, because there's such limited fucking space to work. But, so I got the belt back on. The alternator belt on. It goes on the main pulley in the back. Onto the pulley for the fan. And it goes all the way around here to your alternator. Yep. So then once you get that on, just a matter of tightening up the alternator back. And you've got the that top bolt there is a pivot bolt. You got to pry it back with a tool, which I'll probably end up using my big Serpentine belt tool again. To pry it back enough to tighten that, and then you got to tighten the bolt underneath. So I'll do that first. So bear with me, and I'll be right back. Okay, what I've done here is I've got the top bolt on the alternator. Got it tightened back down. Had to pry the alternator. You got to pry the alternator back far enough to where you can get that bolt, a 12mm bolt, tightened back again. And you got to use two hands, so you can't hold on to a fucking camera or a flashlight and do it at the same time. So that's why I had to shut the camera off. But now I've gotten this far. I had to take my long bar here and get the fucking camera in there, right? And the flashlight. And you see where I had to take an extension for my 14mm socket, which is the size you need for the bottom bolt. And then you can tighten down on that. So you want to make sure you go. Come on. Goddamn flashlight. You want to make sure you go righty-tighty. That's the thing you always remember. It's lefty-loosey and righty-tighty, so it should be easy to remember. So you go to the right, and you just get it as tight as you can fucking get it. The problem with having to do it this way, I don't have a socket wrench that's got a long enough handle so I can crank it. So you gotta go like that, take it off, and then you have to come back, find the bolt again, and then you gotta tighten again. So I'm only have to go one more revolution over, and I can't do it with one hand and one hand holding the camera. So I'm gonna have to shut this off, so bear with me for a second. Take a small break. I was getting a little pissed off, so decided to come in and let my phone charge up a little bit. Plus I want to go ahead and draw out this schematic. So it's for the 1999 and 2000. I'm not sure if any of the newer than 2000 or not. But it's a 2-liter V6 engine, and this is how the setup is set up. You got your crankshaft pulley right here, your AC compressor pulley, and then you've got your power steering pulley. And then right there's your idler pulley. And that's your Serpentine belt. It's two separate belts instead of one single belt that runs everything. So you got the Serpentine belt, which you have to take off first, so you got to loosen up that idler pulley, get that off, and then you can either take off, or if it's already broken off, then you just need to put the new alternator belt on this side of it. There's your crankshaft pulley, and there's a there's actually a bigger diameter pulley behind the serpentine belt pulley. And then you connects to your alternator pulley, and it connects to your fan clutch pulley. So once you get that on, and get the alternator tightened back down, get it pulled back tight enough, which you want to give it maybe, you want to have your belt to have maybe a 1/4 inch of play. I mean, not too tight, not too loose. So get that tight, and then you can put your serpentine belt back on, and then bring your idler pulley back down in, make sure it's about a 1/4 of an inch play there, and then you want to tighten the 2 bolts that are on there, which I guess I can draw that on there to demonstrate that. Yep, your 2 12 millimeter bolts back down. And then you have it done. So I'll show you that here in just a minute. And I want to make sure that everybody knows that those are the numbers for the serpentine belt if you need to replace it. Mine is doing pretty damn good. There's no cracks in it. It's not worn out. So I'm just going to put it back on. It'll be fine. But yeah, if you go without your air conditioner unit though, you need a smaller belt. I'm not sure what the numbers are on that, but on the schematic, it shows you would be going without that. So it'd just be one belt going through here, right here. I'm not sure how that would work without it rubbing against that. I mean, I'm guessing there's a way, but I haven't really looked into it that far because even though my air conditioning unit doesn't work in my car, which I really don't give a damn, I still I'd rather just replace this one back on instead of getting a shorter belt. So might as well just go with what's been working. Okay, folks, we've got the 17 belt back on. As you can see, get the damn flashlight in there. Yeah, so get it back on and everything. You just gotta make sure it's all lined back up where it's supposed to be. And then you have to put your tool back on there, and you pull back to the left to tighten it. You want to make sure you get the belt's about a 1/4 of an inch loose, not super tight. And then you gotta, this thing will focus, piece of shit. It's not one to focus, but you can kind of see the two nuts there. You'll tighten it up on one side, then you gotta use a crescent wrench, a 12 millimeter crescent wrench, and I tighten the one on the right first, get it tightened down real good. Then you can take the tool completely off, because then you got more room to work then. Then I just take my socket wrench with a 12 millimeter socket and tighten the other one, then get them both tight, make sure everything's set right and everything. And then all I gotta do is put the upper radiator hose back on. And like I said, it just has these clip-on clamps. Let's see here, shut that light off now. So I just take my pair of pliers to it, and you just clamp down on it like that. You gotta pull the pipe back in. Set the phone down for a second. I can't see anything, but at least you can still hear me. Okay, got it. Back on there. Come on, phone. Jesus. Okay. Slip that hose back on. And then you gotta get this bag on. There you go. Get it in there. I try to get exactly where the original markings are. If you're just putting the original hose back on, then you just let go, and it's on there. And you don't lose much antifreeze when you pull that off. So I'll check it later, make sure I got plenty of antifreeze. I'm pretty sure I still do. But I'm going to go ahead and get ready to start up here and make sure the son of a bitch runs. No problem. But first, I got to put the battery back in. Be back in a minute, folks. Alright, folks. Got the battery put back in. Turn it back on. Everything, I got all my tools and shit off top of the engine. It's ready. In the moment of truth. This son of a bitch. Starts up. Whew. Hey. Well, the only light that's on is the airbag, which when it gets really cold out, for some reason that airbag light comes on, but I don't give a shit, this thing's so old. Plus it's so small, if it got hit, I'd probably be done for anyway. Alright. A little bit of smoking is from the antifreeze that when I pulled this off, antifreeze came out. Got all over the engine. Everything seems to be going good. Both working. Lighting on there. Hard for me to see shit. Trying to hold the camera and yep. It's all good. Alright. Yep. Alright. There you go, folks. I'll tell you, change the alternator belt, and if you need a replacement or a certain new belt, you can do that too. It's the same step. Hopefully this will be the last time I got to work on this damn thing. It's been a really good car, but it's getting to the point where it's getting about 200,000 miles on it. And the body's about to rust out pretty bad. I mean, the engine and transmission will probably last a whole lot longer. But I'll keep it, but I'll probably get another vehicle as a daily driver. Still keep this baby because of the four-wheel drive. I hope you liked this video. I hope it wasn't too much of a pain in the ass to watch. Maybe I'll see you next time on some other work. Hopefully not this. Bye. Oh, and I didn't want to forget. But I want to show you guys this. It's just, my car's just past the 200,000 mile mark. So, if you ever want a car that'll last you a long damn time, as long as you take care of it, these little Vitaras will they'll last you a long time. Okay. Talk to you later. Bye.